This is our teacher, Susan Harper. And here we're looking at what happens when the spine returns once again to its fluid origins. We have to remember that bone is connective tissue and that it is filled with fluid. The movements of undulations, arcs, spirals will stimulate the fluid. Any movement that behaves like fluid will make it more vibrant and more potent. And what we're seeing is the choreography of the fluid as it is moving through the connective tissue called bone. We have to remember that bone began in the ocean in the first place, and so the dexterity of our skeletal structure is primordial, and this is how bone maintains its health. It's through its flexibility and its adaptability and dexterity. So we're watching the choreography of the fluid as it's articulating itself through this beautiful, complex spinal movement. As we move now, this is me lying on my stomach, and as you look at the back, you'll see that the muscles that are moving along the spine are undulating. I can't really do this on purpose, I'm not that good, but through the activation of the fluid, the behavior of muscle now will take on a kind of biomorphic look. Biomorphic meaning resembling all life form. So we begin to dissolve our exclusive biped tendencies, and we begin to join the flux of life where form and function now become much broader, and we're encompassed in a species-inclusive activity. So as the fluid becomes more vibrant, more potent, it is articulating its own history through us. Here again, I'm lying on my stomach, and if you look at the sides of the body, the breathing is coming from the side. This is a more aquatic way of breathing. So lateral breathing and lateral movement are much more, belong much more to our oceanic origins. Breathing changes as we move on land. This is done in real time, and so as you look at this particular shot, you'll see that the articulation of tissue completely biomorphs as we're looking. So we see this incredible plasticity of tissue as the fluid is, again, recapitulating its own origins in its own language. So we could be looking at a landscape of species history. Everything has been touched by the movement of water. Everything. And in a sense, as we watch this articulation, this becomes a kind of sacred dance, an ancient primordial wisdom that courses through our very tissue. Here I'm lying again on my stomach, and these are the movement of the back ribs. If you came in at this particular time, you really wouldn't know what you're looking at. And the point is that these are biomorphic movements, that the inclusivity of a species abundance becomes apparent as we enter into this vast and mysterious world of fluid. When we do this, our consciousness and our mind is tuned in a very different way. We have to understand that our brain is shaped by experience. Here we're looking at the movement of skin, which is not what we usually will see in a biped. It belongs to our ancient past. And again, we're seeing a movement that we can associate with amphibians. The memory of fluid is again articulating itself in the grand choreography. Here's Susan Harper, and these are Susan's ribs. And if you didn't see the belly button, you would not know what you were looking at. This could be anything. Any creature in the sea would have this kind of articulation. Again, the movement of the fish and the movement of the ocean are one. the mysterious substance that moves through every part of us, secreted into the depth of our cells, constantly resonating with the planet and the galaxy, is revealed now in this choreography of our tissue. Again, these movements have a tremendous effect on our emotional circuits. And here, this is Susan Harper again. She's on her side. And very often, if you ever get to an aquarium, you'll see shark eggs in their little sacs, and they seem to have this very similar pulsation. If you walked in the room at this very moment, you would not know what you were looking at. And again, the biomorphic quality of the elaboration of movement as it's stimulated by the fluid is a tremendous source for healing, for knowledge, for resonance as planetary processes, and our understanding of the galaxy as well.